firms on the East Coast, an all-around impressive dude, and the founder of Rob Levine Legal Solutions. Let's hear it for Rob.
Morning. How's everybody doing? So, when Manny called me and asked me if I would come and speak, I was honored. I'm a HONA user. A slide will come up halfway through the presentation. I'm going to talk about our experience with HONA. How many people here are HONA users? Wow, these lights are really rough. Okay, so a lot of people are not using HONA. So I'm going to tell you why you should be using HONA as a piece of the technology stack in your law firm. So my goal today is there's a clock actually tracking me, which says 2 minutes and 22 seconds, but I'm going to add back 2 minutes at the end because I've only been here 30 seconds. So I planned for an hour and then realized that Ashley only gave me 40 minutes, and I had 3 hours worth of material. So there's going to be a lot of fast-moving information, so it's going to be like drinking from a fire hose. But what I thought I would do is if you hear me talk about things you're interested in, one of the things is going to be marketing, one is going to be intake, and one is really the future of AI and where we're going and what you should be doing today. If you're interested, I will run webinars for free that anyone can attend, and Manny's sponsoring it under the name of HONA at no cost to him since he let me come here and speak. I'm happy to do that for you guys. So, change is coming. Who believes that the entire future of what we see as a law firm is going to change? Is everyone's hand up? Because I can't really see. If everyone's hand up is not up, you are sadly mistaken. You're either going to embrace the future and understand that we are going to be completely different going forward, or you're going to get left behind. In 1899, Charles Dewey, the commissioner of the U.S. Patents Office, said, "Everything that can be invented has been invented." How ridiculous is that? But he believed it when he said it. In 1981, Bill Gates, anyone not know who Bill Gates is? He said, "No one will need more than 637 kilobytes of memory for personal computers. 640 kilobytes ought to be enough for anybody." That was Bill Gates. In 2007, Steve Ballmer, the Microsoft CEO, held up an iPhone and said, "There's no chance that the iPhone is going to get significant market share." Change is coming. The problem is we don't really know what it looks like because you just heard from 3 amazing people that completely missed the mark on what the future holds. Albert Einstein said, "Imagination is the highest form of research." Imagination. Try to imagine your law firm completely different from what it is today, because that's what it's going to be. So, who can tell me what disruption is? We're here at a seminar about disruption. I sat through the entire presentation yesterday. I didn't really hear anyone actually define disruption. Who can tell me? Massive change. What else? Unexpected. So let's say radical change to an existing industry or market due to technological innovation. That's what we're talking about. Now, first of all, who am I? My name is Rob Levine. I own a law firm. My law firm does personal injury, Social Security disability, and veterans disability. We started in Rhode Island 25 years ago. Now we do personal injury in Rhode Island, Mass, Connecticut, New Hampshire. We do Social Security disability and veterans disability nationwide. The law firm is 260 people. We broke a record last month and opened 1,041 cases last month. So we are using technology to scale. We opened Rob Levine Legal Solutions. I had several other businesses going, and then we put it under one brand. We created a medical record retrieval business. When I started it, the goal was disruption. Anyone who worked with a medical record retrieval business, you used to upload stuff to their platform, download their stuff from their platform. We created an integration between my platform and your case management system. So there was 100% bilateral communication. We changed the way it was done. There's still only several companies that do 100% integration today. A ton of them, you still have to go in and come out. We created a trained and certified remote legal staffing program. There are tons of companies that you can hire internationally. The problem is you have to train them yourself. We created a training academy. I run companies in Colombia and Peru. We hire people, they go through a full-time academy. To be a case manager, it's 12 weeks long, full-time, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. We wash out 20% of the candidates, I certify them, and then I place them in law firms around the country. Right now, as far as I know, I'm the only one doing it nationwide. Mastermind group, we have law firms that come to me. Jen Gore was in a mastermind group with me. Mike Morse was in a mastermind group with me. I formed my own mastermind group. So we have law firms around the country. I highly respect Jen and Mike, brilliant people. The only thing I disagree with that Mike said yesterday is that you want the same size law firms in your mastermind group. Very different in my program. There are large law firms, people my size, and smaller law firms. A large law firm loses sight of being a speedboat, and they become a cruise ship. So it's very hard to make change, right? Change management is difficult. You tell somebody you want to change something, and they freeze. And so the concept of having smaller law firms, while they might be experiencing different problems, everybody in scale has the same unique issues, they're just different sizes. So you get to help each other and see how people respond differently. Legal consulting and coaching, and then our newest company is Faster Outcomes. So I am now an owner/partner in an AI technology company. One of the things we're going to talk about today as what I see as the future of AI. Tim Sawyer is one of my partners at Faster Outcomes. He's sitting here in the front row. Kelsey Trevero is the manager of my VA division. She's also the head of innovation, so she's running all of our technology and AI programs. And then Kelly with her is one of our sales team. So, we created a SaaS for the billboard industry. I wanted to create disruption. How many people buy billboards in here? Right? And if you don't buy them, you see them. This is what a billboard looks like. And when you get it delivered to you from a designer, they work on a computer and they just see this little PDF and then they email it to you. We created a program where the designer can upload their artwork in a virtual reality, sit in a car, look out a windshield, drive 65 miles an hour, and see what the billboard will really look like, speed and distance. We also partnered with Google SDK Maps, which puts it on any billboard anywhere in the world, so you can actually pick your board, upload your artwork. It doesn't exist anywhere. We launched it literally while I was here on Monday. I was supposed to be in Boston at the Outdoor Advertisers Association. But instead I came here, and my chief of marketing was in Boston launching this program. So, today's topic, disrupting the way a law firm works. AI is not going to make your law firm successful. If you have problems in your law firm today, AI is not going to change it. So we're going to talk about where you need to be today, what KPIs you need to be monitoring, very quickly and only a few, because I could talk for hours on each topic. But if you don't get your house in order, and then you come to an AI company and use other types of technology and dump it on top of a foundation that's not stable, it's not going to work. It's only going to make it worse. So you need to understand what are your KPIs. You need to understand what is the process to make the law firm successful. If you don't start with the basics, you will be sorry when you start to add in all the technology. Because yes, it can scale. Yes, it can make us more efficient. Yes, it can help us. But it can't do the basics for us. That's our job. So remember, as the CEO running the law firm, your job is the visionary. If you spend 100% of your time working in the business and not focusing on the business won't grow. It won't meet your vision. So you have to figure out, what is your mission, what is your vision, what are your values? How do you want your law firm to look in the future? Figure out those steps and use them as building blocks for where you're going. So we're going to talk about KPIs, monitoring data and workflows, tracking cases, technology, and AI. 2 ways to make money in a law firm. So a law firm has 2 purposes, right? 3. 1 is we want to take care of people. We want to help our clients. We want to make a difference. So before I was a lawyer, I was a police officer. So I was in the military as an MP, then I was a police officer in a busy city, and became a paramedic, and then I became a lawyer. And so I have dedicated my life to giving back, making a difference in service. I also like to make money. So how do we make more money? You can tell me one way that we can make more money in a law firm. Can't only call on you, Jen. Somebody else besides Jen, because Jen knows all the answers. She's heard me talk for years.
More cases.
More cases. So we increase our marketing and we bring more cases in the door. What's another way? Less cost, that's true. That won't increase revenue, but it will definitely increase profit. Good answer.
Make the cases more valuable.
Make the cases more valuable. So we bring in more cases, which is marketing and intake. Or 2, increase the value of our cases through proper management. Right? Starting with the investigation, we set up the hurdle to get over to prove negligence. Right? Duty, breach, causation, damages, we're set. We can win this case. But that has nothing to do with value unless you have a great story to tell to a jury based on how the accident happened. The reality of value is our medical management. What does our client need for treatment? And we often screw that up because we're not spending enough time reading the records, making sure they're getting the right treatment, understanding what their issues are. So let's talk about marketing today quick. So Jen did an amazing job talking about branding versus buying leads. Branding is more important today than it's ever been because the Goliaths are coming, right? Everybody knows Arizona has passed, right? The ability to have ownership by non-lawyers. Massive sums of money are coming in. If you want to see what that looks like in the future, look at Australia, look at England. They've done it. What happened? A lot of those smaller law firms got gobbled up, got pushed, got crushed. Happens in all industries. Pharmacies. Look around at pharmacies in different states. I'm originally from Rhode Island. There were 77 privately owned pharmacies. You know how many privately owned pharmacies there are today? Not one. 0. You have Walgreens, you have CVS, and then the monster, Walmart. And that's it. Law firms are going to experience the same change over time. If you don't brand, if people don't know your name, if they don't know who you are, if you don't find your niche, you will never survive. Traditional versus digital, right? So you can't brand with only digital. You need traditional, right? Traditional is TV, billboards, radio. Obviously, we all know what digital is. Conversion rate. You need to know your numbers, right? How much are we getting from leads to signed cases? What's our cost per lead? What's our cost per signed case? If you're not managing your marketing by vertical, where are they coming from? Are you using DID numbers, tracking where your calls are coming from? Are you using UTM codes to track where your pay-per-click ads are coming from when it comes through your website? So if you get a form fill in your website, can you identify where it originated? If you can't, you're not going to be able to allocate cost. So these are the basics in your marketing. Obviously, we could talk forever about marketing, but I don't have time. Marketing tomorrow, some simple ideas and things that are happening. So you remember the word impressions, right? So when you're thinking about placing an ad, how many eyeballs are seeing your ad? Everybody knows what I'm talking about? Impressions, yes? Yeah. Good. So, that's changed. Now we look at predictive analysis. Because the problem with impressions is all the people that see your ad don't really need you today. So if you're looking to drive business and make the phone ring, impressions are long-term, right? Someday that person might need me, might remember me, might call me if I keep my advertising going over a long period of time. But if I want to make the phone ring today, I want to target my ads better. So if we use something like PMAX campaigns, how many people are using PMAX with Google? 2 hands. So PMAX is taking the concept of impressions and it's identified, one, we tell it what our ICP is, our ideal customer profile. So I learned yesterday that I can't use acronyms, or Tim's going to raise his hand and say, what does that mean? So our ideal customer profile, and Tim already promised me he's going to heckle me, so I got to pay attention to what I'm saying. Everybody knows who Tim is, right? He's the owner of Vista Consulting. I've used Tim in the past. Tim runs a great company. So, and he's laughing hysterically at me. So, I also thought when I only had 40 minutes, I thought, how am I going to do 40 minutes? And I actually remembered, Tim put me on stage and said, you have 10 minutes. And I literally had 10 minutes to do a presentation. So, I can do it. So, ideal customer profile, what is the buying of those people? So Google is watching where they search, what they're looking for, and when they need your service. So it's tracking them. Obviously, everybody understands we're tracked constantly, right? Our IP address, Google is watching everything we do. So it combines our ICP, it takes and looks for our buyers, it looks for what their buying decisions are, and it takes from a pool of information that we give it, here's all my choices of ads you can run, Google. It picks the right ads, and it serves it to the person who needs me today. That's the future. It's called MarTech, marketing and technology combined. That's where we're going. Social media, so one company is Syllabi. There's a ton of companies. So if you're doing social media, instead of having to create all of your own posts, if you go onto Syllabi.com, there's thousands of ready-made posts. You can add your voice to it, you can add your clone to it, and put it up in minutes. Instead of thinking about your content, shooting your content, writing it yourself. Avatars, if you want to create your own avatar, right? So you want to recreate myself, either for my office, because I want to do training, and I don't want to have to always be live. I can use an avatar that looks just like me, and I can use it in social media. I can do all sorts of things. HeyGen is one of those companies. Intake. So intake is definitely my specialty. So I run a 50-plus person call center. I help lots of law firms with intake, and the key to intake is simple. You need to know your numbers, and you need to stick on your people and drive them and improve them. So, average time to answer. Super important, right? How many calls am I answering? How many calls am I losing? My abandon rate. So that's the beginning of the intake process. If you spend money on marketing, you better perfect intake, because that's the connection between your law firm and signing the case. If intake is not perfected, you are pouring money out the window. People don't understand how many holes there are in the process. So if you think of a strainer, right? So all the water comes out those holes when you're draining your pasta. That's your intake center. There are holes. So for example, if you haven't combined your inbound phone calls to your case management system, and you have a receptionist answering the phone, how many people have a receptionist answer their phone and then direct the call? Don't be afraid to raise your hand, because if you don't, that means you all have integrated technology and there's no possible way. So, what happens when the receptionist answers? Thanks for calling Rob Levine and Associates. How can I make your day better? Oh my God, I was involved in a car accident. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me transfer you to someone who can help you. Hold. And now you're waiting for an intake person to answer. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. You're in a catastrophic accident. You've never done this before. You've called someone for help and you're on hold. A percentage of those people hang up. How many people track their hang-ups? Okay, I see Jen's hand up front. Jen said I taught her. And I see someone else's. That means you are losing calls. If you integrate your inbound phone calls with your case management system, as the call comes in, it carries 2 pieces of data. Caller ID, so you know who's calling, and a DID, so you know what campaign it came from, so you can give attribution to the right campaign. If you have that set up, when the call comes in and you scrub your case management system, which goes like that, you recognize it's a new client. You can deliver the new client to the intake center. And the person who answers the phone is the one who builds the relationship, has empathy, compassion, qualifies, and signs them. One call, that's all. That's the goal for your call center. No putting people on hold, no having to chase them. If you do, you're losing business. So what do you need though? A callback system. So because you have hang-ups, you need your system to recognize anyone who connected and hung up before a person spoke to them. Your system then automatically calls that number back. It pops the next person in the call center. It says, hang up, Mr. Smith, 10 seconds ago. Your call center, they answer, your call center person says, Mr. Smith, oh my God, this is Dave from Rob Levine and Associates. I'm so sorry that you were disconnected. How can I help you today? That's the moneymaker. So for us, in a 10-month period of time, we lost, I don't know, I forget now, used to have a slide, the slide was here, but I took it out. Maybe 2,000 something calls. Of the 2,000 calls we called back, 643 turned into cases. You add that up times the value of your cases, whatever your value is, you're talking about millions of dollars. Wanted and signed ratio. I want this case, do I sign it or not? My opinion is you should be at 95% or higher. 95% of the cases that you talk to, that you decide, I want this client, and then sign them. The average law firm is between 75 and 83%. How many people here know their wanted and signed ratio? I'm not going to ask you what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the back. If you don't know your wanted and signed ratio, I can tell you you're losing a lot of money. Because if you don't know the percentage, it probably means it's low. So imagine, let's say your average attorney fee is $10,000, and I can't sign you because you say to me, oh, I was going to call 3 law firms before I made a decision, and I don't know how to overcome that objection. I really need to talk to my husband before I make a decision. I was really thinking maybe I should settle this case myself. The insurance company already called me, so I don't know that I want to pay a lawyer a third. If your team doesn't know how to overcome objections and sign, one call, that's all, every time that person hangs up and you have to start chasing people, the chances of conversion drop radically. If you're less than 95%, you need to work on your call center and your numbers. Commission structure. How many people have a commission structure set up for the people who answer the phone and sign cases in their law firm? 1, 2, 3, Brian, not you? 3 people. If you take your best paralegal and you have them talk to the client, that is not the key to success. They are not salespeople. You are selling your services to someone who either knows you a little bit, knows you very little. You had a lead that got sent to you. You had a pay-per-click ad. What relationship does that person have with you? You have to sell them. The person in the call center has to be a salesperson, driven by money, driven by motivation to change that person's life. They still have to have empathy, compassion, understanding, but they have to be always looking to close the client. Highly recommend it. So where are we going with intake? So, number 1, we can use transcription analysis for sentiment monitoring. What does that mean? How many people record their phone calls? Good, more people. So, if you're recording your phone calls and you turn that into a transcript and you use AI for coaching, it will do sentiment analysis. You can see, based on those calls, how is your team member doing? Where did they lose the person? Where did they improve the person? What do you need to work on with them? That's after the fact. The goal is to get to live monitoring. So if you have AI listening to the call, as opposed to the transcript after, during that call, it sends an alert to a manager. There's a sentiment analysis problem. We are losing the customer. You can hear it in their voice. Things have changed. It's going downhill. Manager picks up the phone and helps to change that direction. The real future is AI bots, our agents. Agent answers the phone, agent talks to the customer, agent signs them. My opinion, we are not there yet. So we have a large call center. I get calls from AI companies probably once a week saying, hey, just test this out, listen to our system, and we listen. They're not ready, right? It has to be spontaneous, it has to be friendly, it has to have compassion, it has to have the ability to logically think and qualify the customer to sign. It's not there. We are at 98.5% wanted and signed ratio. That's my call center. There's no way I'm letting an AI bot in my office to reduce a 98.5% success for signing for personal injury. Social Security VA is not at 98.5, it's definitely much lower. It's just a different population. But we're going to be there, I would say, in probably 18 months to 2 years. I think it will be there. So it's coming. Managing cases. The future of where AI is going for the law firm, this is the change. It's going to change how we do marketing. It's going to change how we do intake. It's going to change the way you run your law firm. So if you think about how most of us are using AI today, what are we doing? Demands and medical chronologies. And that's great. It can make it faster. It can make it more efficient. But the reality is, it's starting where in the process? The end. It's starting at the end. So if you believe in medical management, in doing a proper investigation, in really working your case from start to finish, how can you really believe that by taking a finished product and putting it into a machine, that that's the future? It's the beginning. And I'm not saying that, for instance, I see the CEO of Even Up here, or Supio, that they're not doing a great job. All those AI companies are doing a great job. But if we're talking about disruption, that's not what disruption is. That's just using a computer to enhance my records. We want to change the way we run the law firm. So, first of all, we want to make sure our process is set up. So where are we today? How many have an in-house investigator or hire an investigator to work their cases? Right, so you need to make sure. There's only two things to win a case, right? Number one, we need to prove negligence. That's our investigation. Number two, we need to prove damages. The value of the case is based on the damages. Half of our case is based on the investigation. There's two hurdles, right? You're at fault, and I can prove it. Here's my accident reconstruction. Here's my pictures. Here's my videos. Here's my expert. If you're not building your case from day one to have all of that ready, you're destroying half of the value of your case, in my opinion. So work on setting up processes for your investigation. And we'll talk about AI. Proper medical management. How many people are really medically managing their cases? Well, I see one hand. I find that hard to believe. 2 hands, 3, 4. So what does medical management mean? It means the minute you get the first record, you read it, right? And you identify. Does this person have a potential TBI, for instance? How many people are screening for TBIs? Few hands, good. How many use the Philadelphia test? 1 hand. I saw half a hand in the back. So we use HONA. We send out the Philadelphia test through HONA, and they can actually answer the questions on their phone, and it comes back to us. If you're not screening for those kinds of injuries, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. TBIs are worth a lot. How many people are monitoring? What percentage of their cases are getting objective testing? CAT scans, MRIs, making sure that doctors are doing the right thing. So the medical industry is broken, right? So as a paramedic, I spent a lot of hours in the hospital doing rounds with doctors, all different departments. It's just part of schooling, and then I made friends. It's broken. They all complain about how little they're getting paid, how much their insurance costs, how little time they have to spend with patients. And now you have NPs and PAs. Think about how little the doctor is focusing on making your client better as opposed to billing in volume. That's their goal. Billing in volume, keeping health insurance costs down because they have pressure from the health insurance company. So you are fighting an uphill battle that you must be the voice of your client. Maximizing the case value and drive your average attorney fees higher. How many people have their pre-litigation attorneys on commission? One? Come on, it's got to be more than one person. 2, 3. So that's the key, right? Way back when, I've been doing this 25 years, and I knew nothing, and I was an idiot, opened my own office, hung a shingle, we ran a production model. How many cases could I settle? How quickly could I get it through? Churning and burning cases. It was a disaster when I look back now. So the difference between, did I drop my, the difference between that and where you need to be is that when you put an attorney on commission, you get buy-in, skin in the game. They eat what they kill. So they are going to work the value of the case. If you teach them medical management, if you teach them better negotiation, if you teach them how to work the file, they're driven to make money. So all of our pre-lit attorneys are 100% commission. And interestingly, what we did was, you heard Mike talk about paying on profit, not revenue, which is an amazing concept, and I 100% agree. It's hard to do. So if you have multiple teams, you have to take your revenue for each team, and then your expenses for your law firm, and divide it by each pod. A percentage of advertising, a percentage of call center, a percentage of overhead. You're subtracting from each team's revenue all of the law firm's expenses divided, and then you come up with a number. That's hard. So what we did was we said, let's start with a more simple concept. The higher your average attorney fee is, the greater your commission. So let's make up a number and say I pay 10%. If I pay 10%, once you get to a certain level, if you drive your average attorney fee higher, which we track, I increase your percentage. So for every $1,000, let's say you go up from $10,000 to $11,000 as your average attorney fee, I'm going to increase you by half a percentage, 10 to 10.5, 10.5 to 11. So you are focused on driving it higher. It's important. So, technology and AI. First of all, HONA. So for those of you who are not using HONA, HONA is an amazing piece of technology. I think we've been using it for a year and a half now. So number one, client communication. So it's automatically sending out texts, but it's sending out text based on the status of our case. So instead of my case manager having to remember to communicate directly, when it hits a different status as it moves through all of the statuses in our case, pre-built texts are going out. I shot 23 videos, so there are links in all of those texts. They can watch a video. I don't want my case manager to talk about medical management in the first conversation. I want it to be clean, I want it to be clear, I want it to have compassion. So I filmed a video on medical management and why we care about their treatment. That's one of the videos they get up front. You can send them anything you want. We do NPS surveys. How many people do surveys to see how your office is doing? Right, so an NPS survey is a simple question. Would you refer your friends and family to my office? Score of 1 to 10. So an NPS score is very low because the only time you add points is a 9 or 10. 1 through 5, I think, is a detractor. You lose points. 6 through 8 is negative, is just neutral, and 9 and 10 is a positive score. So all of the ways that you can create communication with your client, you can be as creative as you want. It creates that automatic communication, and when they respond, it comes back directly into your case management system and into that person's file. Domo. Anyone in here using Domo? Not one in the back. So Domo is an amazing piece of technology. They're actually located here in Salt Lake as well. And so Domo is a data set platform. So when you run reports, today you run a report in QuickBooks. You run a different report in your case management system. You run a different report in your call center. You run a different report out of your phone system. Domo connects to any platform that you can imagine. Anything, period. If it's in your office on a server, it can connect to it. If it's in the cloud, it can connect to it. So 2 years ago, it ran all the data for the Indy 500. So any statistics you watch was produced by Domo. It pulls all of that data from all of those sources into one central location. And based on that, you can create any dashboard you want, combining all of the different sources into different reports, and it uses AI. So it says, based on this, tell me what would happen, what would this projection look like? And it makes suggestions, it gives you ideas, it gives you formatting. It's a phenomenal piece of equipment. Re-envision your law firm using the true potential of AI. What is the future of where we're going? So, let's start with AI at the beginning. Now, my partner, Tim Sawyer, and others, is the owner of Faster Outcomes. I'm now one of the owners of Faster Outcomes. So the screenshots that you're going to see as I talk about where I envision some things that we're doing today and some things that I'm going to talk about that are the future, where we're going, right, is where I see the future of AI. So let's use an example. We have a client, 67 years old, they fell, they were in a stairwell. All sorts of medical issues diagnosed. This gets put into your AI system. Up front, day one, this is the information that you're putting in. What happened? What's the emergency room report? This is Faster Outcomes. So, what are the building codes for the interior stairwell of a house built in Rhode Island in 1978? So all of the information goes in, and then it gives us information. Building codes, stair dimensions, minimum tread depth, maximum riser height, handrails, guardrails, materials, safety requirements, recommendations for future research. Why is this important? Because how many people in their office know the code? None of us. But how many people of us can call an investigator and say, go out to the house, this is what I want you to look at. Measure this, measure that. Tell me, what is defective where the client fell? What are the things I should be concerned about? You have a parking lot case. Who are the potential defendants? How many defendants do we have? What should I be looking at for the owner of the mall, the store owner in the mall, the plow company who's responsible for maintaining the lot, the person who's responsible for the lighting? Who are all those people and what are the things I should be looking at? So, you heard the term agents yesterday. What is an agent? So imagine an agent is the smartest person in the room. And we have a ton of them. So one of them is a lawyer. It's the smartest lawyer you ever met. Who's the second? It's the smartest investigator you ever met. Who's the third? It's the smartest neurologist you ever met. Who's the fourth? It's the smartest orthopedic you ever met. And they all sit at a conference table, working together on your file. That is the future of AI. All of those agents are your employees. They are AI bot agents. They are all trained from tons and tons of data, teaching them what they should know and what they should be looking at. We already know that AI has passed the bar exam. We all know that AI has passed medical licensure boards. So we know, based on the information that we feed it and what we train it on, it becomes the smartest person in the room. I have smart people that work for me. I'm smart, and I'm sure you all have smart people that work for you. But there's no possible way that you can imagine that they remember everything. So when your paralegal is reading a record, number one, is she going to miss things? 100%. If she has to rely on a prompt, how many people here use ChatGPT? Right? So a lot of us are using it. How does ChatGPT work? It works based on prompts. We ask it a question, and then it goes out, gets us the information, and comes back. Can you change the prompt to be more specific? Write this letter for me, this is what I needed to say. Bop, 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 bop. It gives you the letter. You read it. I want you to be more emotional. I want you to be more angry, be more sensitive, and it can do it for you. What's that limitation mean? It means if you don't have the right prompt, if you don't think of what to ask it, it misses it. In Rhode Island, prior to 1978, handrails were not required on an interior stairwell. So if I didn't know that, and I put my information in, and it relied on my prompt, what happens? The information I get is not going to be right. It's not going to know to look for what I asked it. Where are we going? Where we're going is a workflow that's pre-built. We'll call it a checklist, which I hate the word checklist. Right? Checklists breed inefficiency. Checklists breed mistakes. If you rely on a checklist, you're going to have problems. So, what happens? We want AI to think for itself. We want it to be so well trained that it understands, okay, this is a case. This is a case in Rhode Island. What is the law I have to look up? These are the questions I should be asking. And it's telling you. That's where we're going. Case example number 2 is going to be a car accident. It's T-boned. There's a head injury. They hit their head on the side of the window. So we feed all the information in. Obviously the yellow is to hide the name of the client and personal information, PHI, which we're going to talk about very quickly at the end for those of you who are using ChatGPT. So what does it give me? Condensed list of screening tools, Glasgow-Coma scale, standardized assessment, the Philadelphia test, vestibular and ocular tools, symptoms tracking tools, symptoms, physical examination findings, diagnostic impressions, neurocognitive assessment, conclusion. It gives me a ton of information, some of which we have to prompt and ask for it today. And where we're going is, it's going to think of what it needs to do and give me back the information. So, ChatGPT. So I said I wanted you to make sure that you leave here with information. So you left here with information about marketing, things that you should be tracking and know, intake, things that you should be tracking and you should know today, right? Running your case. If you're using ChatGPT, it's a great tool. You can get into a lot of trouble with it, right? So, all of the information you're about to see that I'm going to tell you came from ChatGPT. So if you say, oh, he's full of shit, go home and type into ChatGPT and ask it the questions you're going to see me give you answers to. You're going to get the same answer. So obviously state your audience, role assignment, be specific, specify the format, set the constraints, ask follow-up questions, ask for sources. That's using ChatGPT. Advantages: gives you information fast, widely accessible, simplifies, it's cheap. Problems: data current to October 2023 in the free version. How many people use the free version? How many people use the paid version? Okay, good. Data in the paid version is June of 2024. So your data, the information that it's giving you, is already 1 year old. Hallucination rates, depending on the version, between 61 and 80% of the time. If you're doing a medical chronology through ChatGPT, between 58 and 82% of the time, it has a hallucination. If you're drafting demand letters using ChatGPT, hallucination rates are between 58 and 82% of the time. How many people know what a hallucination rate? Everybody knows what a hallucination is? It's just what you think it is. It went off and made up shit. We've all seen lawyers who got in trouble for not checking their sources when they use ChatGPT. Anything that you put in ChatGPT, you need to check. Now, where is the big ethical dilemma with ChatGPT? You are ethically required to safeguard PHI, your client's personal information, right? You can't make that public. First of all, how many people know that there's a setting in ChatGPT that you can turn off? Not a lot of you compared to the number of people that said they use ChatGPT. So, take a picture of this screen if you're using ChatGPT. But then I'm going to give you the warning that goes behind it. You go to settings. You go to data controls, where it says improve model for everyone. You turn it off. But pay attention to what that line says. It says improve model for everyone. If you don't turn that off, 100% of the shit that you put in ChatGPT is out. They're using it to make it smarter, to train what we talked about, the agent. Everything that you put in the system becomes public. If you turn it off, they're telling you they won't use it to train the agent. But ask ChatGPT. If I go into settings and go to data controls and turn off improve the model for everyone, will all of my information that I upload in ChatGPT be 100% private in a closed large language model? You know what it's going to tell you? No, it is not private. That means all of your client's information can be put out there in the world. Other people have access to it. So be very wary about what you put in ChatGPT. I would not put in anything with a name, date of birth, social security number. Never put that in ChatGPT. Do not upload medical records that have identifiable PHI information. That is a massive, massive ethical violation. Now, 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, the American Bar Association said it was evil to use AI. How many people remember that, right? So they came out with a statement and said, you should not use AI. You are professionals, you should be doing your own research. It is inappropriate and wrong. Anybody know what the new ABA model decision is? You are not ethical if you don't use AI. AI must be used for the client's benefit. But remember, part of that decision says you must inform your client and get consent to use AI. So in your fee agreement, if you are using ChatGPT, or you hire us for faster outcomes, or you use EvenUp, or you use Supio, or any other AI program, you must get your client's consent to use AI. If you're not, you are definitely in violation of the disciplinary rules. So, that brings me to a close. I think I only went 2 minutes over. Not bad. So, if you want more information, that's how you reach us. If you're interested in a webinar, if we have enough people who respond to info@roblevinelegalsolutions.com, I will run a webinar either on intake, on the marketing, or on AI, the future, and really how to use it now, today, in your law firm. If you want that, just send us an email saying you want it, and if we get enough people respond, maybe 20 people, we'll run a free webinar. Thank you very much.